We are back. It's a long weekend, 4 days, and we're working, I didn't point in the right direction, and we're working on the Fwd the rear wheel drive swap. If you are new here, go back and watch all the other videos, binge them, and then come back here because we've made so many moves on this thing, and I've made even more moves since you guys have last seen me. So I'm gonna give you guys an update. As you can see, we have the extended LCAs in both sides of the front of the car. Yep, that's right. I've done them on both sides. We also have coilovers in all 4 corners of the car, which is phenomenal. They're in the front, they are in the back. That is crazy. Our MX-5 subframe is chilling there at the moment. And if we have coilovers in all 4 sides of the car, what do you think that means? That means that we can put wheels on the car and put the car on the ground for the first time, which is kind of something I want to do just to hit the goal, right? So my good friend Elijah dropped off these 4x114 stock Sylvia wheels because, of course, this is 4x114 at the front and we've got 4x100 at the back. That's not going to work for our wheels that we had on the car because they were all 4x100, right? But it's all good. I'm going to get those wheels re-drilled for the front so that they match the Sylvia stub pattern. And then for the rear, we'll just run a bunch of 4x100 wheels. I'll get another 4 T37 looking wheels for the rear so that we have a bunch for when we go drifting and track days and stuff. But we can officially put all 4 wheels on the car, which is kind of crazy, right? So plans for right now is to chuck some wheels on the car, sit it on the ground just for fun. And then we're going to pull the motor out and move on to the engine bay side of things. It is time to start finalizing the fabrication in the engine bay. It's time to hopefully get some paint down on this thing. Just quickly also, I will update you guys on the strut tops. So currently this is the situation that we have. So I ended up using this stock hole right here, drilling a new hole here, and then we're going to plate this off so it all looks nice and pretty for the last hole. And hopefully by the end of that, our strut top should be looking mad. And we've done that on both sides, but that is pretty awesome how that worked out because it made life quite easy for me, if I'm honest. This whole geometry thing is a lot of trial and error just to make sure that we get things right. Ideally, once this car's finished and built, it drives like an S13. That's what I'm crossing my fingers that it does. Let's go ahead and chuck some wheels on this thing and lower it down. And I'm so freaking stoked. Let's go.
It's crazy how something as simple as putting 4 wheels back on the car can make you feel so damn good. But after fitting a Mazda subframe in the rear and a Nissan subframe in the front of our Mitsubishi, this was a pretty awesome moment.
Yup, we're running rally style on the front, look at that. Taking this car back to its roots with the rally look. We've got 4 wheels on the car. That is pretty massive. Oh, she's, oh, had some kind of pop. All right, so the rear's tapped out, the front's tapped out. That's fitment, ladies and gentlemen, right there. It's literally sitting on the guard. Holy crap. Look at that. Wheels on, turbo. That is unreal. We are smashing this build out and I'm absolutely loving it. There's something just so weird about looking at that. Like, that is crazy. All right, I got G'd up. I put the front bumper on. I just wanted to see what it would look like. So strange to see the CA sitting in there like that, but you're kind of starting to get a glimpse now of how this thing is gonna like look once it's all together. Now that we've had the car on the ground, stoked to see it, all 4 wheels on, amazing. We're gonna pull the motor out because it is time to get to work on this engine bay. There's no time like the present. Let's pull this motor out of this car.
And so the CA18 comes out of the engine bay for what I hope will be the final time. We're chucking it on an engine stand and we'll be giving it a full makeover so it looks brand spanking new, ready for our freshly painted engine bay.
The engine is out of the car and we are ready to get our hands dirty on the last of the fab work in the engine bay, stripping everything down and getting this thing ready for painting. We're stripping everything out of the engine bay that we don't need. So let's get to work.
So out come all of the brackets, which requires a heap of cutting and drilling as there are a lot of spot welds. I went through a whole packet of cutting blades removing all of these brackets, but it'll be worth it in the end. We're also removing everything off the rear firewall and anything else in the engine bay that'll get in the way of us making this thing hella spicy.
I tried to put that job off for as long as possible because I was dreading doing it. Because cutting stuff off, it sucks. You get covered in crap, but we did pretty well, gotten a fair way through, and I'm pretty stoked with the outcome so far. But that's as far as I'm gonna get tonight. But you can kind of start to see, man, how much room we have in the engine bay once you cut everything off. It's just, there's a huge amount of space for our little CA and everything else we're gonna throw in there, which is awesome. We've got a bit more to do tomorrow before we can start to paint the engine bay. But like I said, 4-day weekend, so we are good. But before we leave tonight, I wanted to go a little bit sideways from the Fwd and do something pretty cool. So I built my first set, well, pair of 3-piece wheels. These are my Veilside Andrews. We put new lips, new hardware on them, and I resprayed the faces as well. I did this off camera, obviously, but I'm stoked with the outcome. Like, they look super cool. I'll show you guys quickly before we mount a tire on this what they look like before. So this is what they used to look like. I only had 3 rims because we stuffed one drifting, which I'm kind of gutted about, because if I had all 4, obviously I'd have a full set. But regardless, this is how it used to look like, and this is how it looks now. So it's a pretty big glow up. Looks so sick. But what we're gonna do, I'm gonna mount a tire on this and we're gonna put it on the back of the BMW E36 competition car, because I really wanna see what it looks like. I'm a bit of a rookie, and I said to Paul at Wheel Mods, he's like, what size lips do you want for it? And I said, I'll just do a couple more inches bigger, but I didn't even measure anything. Turns out that we now have, they used to be 18 by 9.5 plus 24 wheels, and now they are 18 by 11.5, and probably somewhere in the vicinity of 0 offset to maybe a -5 or so. I've still got to do some measurements to see, so it's going to be interesting to see how they fit. But let's go ahead and throw a tire on it and kind of see how it comes out. I'm nervous about putting a tire on it because you never want to scratch a rim or anything when you're doing it, so fingers crossed. Let's go. Freaking awesome. Dang, we're using an old tire because I don't have any brand new 265s here, and there's no way 235s were gonna fit on that. Well, they probably would have actually. They would have just stretched like hell, but let's fit it up to the E36 and see if it fits. There's like a 30% chance that this is actually gonna fit on the car, but nonetheless, it'll look gangster, so let's do it. Somehow, I don't think that's quite right. If we were going to go hot boy stance, then we would just dial in a bunch of camber, but unfortunately you can't do that on this car because we need the 0 camber for all of the grip. Still, does look good. It's actually not sitting super right at the moment because the spacers I have on the car, it doesn't sit properly on those, so I've actually got to get some new spacers, but so it's kind of sitting actually like full positive at the moment, so it might just slip under when it's like on the spacer properly. Nonetheless, like, I mean, it looks really nice on the livery. If you stand back here, you can't notice the poke too much, but that is sick. I was hoping to use those as my hard park wheels when we rock up to the track, like with the car looking super gangster, but unfortunately it looks like we may not get away with that, and they might either sit on the shelf or maybe I'll sell them. They're worth quite a bit of money, and of course we need all the money we can get to fund this build. That is enough for me tonight. I need to go home, have some food, have some rest. I'll see you guys nice and early in the morning. We're gonna kick on with this build. I literally go home and dream about this thing, and then I wake up and come and work on it, so. It's good dreams, it's not nightmares yet. We haven't run into any roadblocks just yet. See you in the morning. I'm rambling, bye. You. Quick Datsun appreciation clip. This thing is so close to being finished, and I will be doing a video on it very soon, literally completing the build. We'll chuck it back on the dyno, but man, this thing has come such a long way and is easily the most incredible sounding car that I will ever own. It's got like mad 2JZ vibes about it with the L28 turbo and the exhaust that Elijah did on it. Like, it's just absolutely incredible. So I'll be doing a full video finishing this car very soon, but I literally just took it for a wee whip down the street. There's nothing I've ever driven that compares to that thing. Now, we're back with the Fwd. So I took some time before I started filming to cut the excess metal, like out around the gearbox tunnel. So now that's all looking nice and tight. So we're going to go ahead now. Well, let's remove these two master cylinders, get them out of the way so that we can pull the last of the excess stuff out. And then I've marked a line here around the strut top, and we're going to cut that out, and we'll unbolt these, and I'm going to make a plate that goes over here for the third bolt. It's going to be super simple, because why overcomplicate things if you don't have to, right? We'll get rid of the seam sealer. We're going to put our new plate in. It's going to be awesome. Making moves. Let's go.
We're removing the last of the engine bay components before cutting out the old suspension top hats. Then it's time to get out our trusty cardboard and make the templates for our new coilover top hats. We then trace them onto 3mm mild steel and cut them out for realsies. It's important to clean all of the old seam sealer and paint off using a wire wheel so we can get some nice clean welds going. Finally, it's time to weld on our new plates.
After many hours of cutting, grinding and welding, we now have a strut top welded onto our rear wheel drive Lancer. Looks rad. I'm sure there's plenty of different ways that you could do that, but this is the way that I chose. So now we'll go ahead, and what I'm going to do is just chuck some etch primer on that, obviously, just so it doesn't rust or anything like that. And then we'll slide the coilover up through there for the final time. Obviously I've got to do that to the other side, but I'll do that off camera because you don't need to see me do it twice. But that is another massive part of the car done. And that's fantastic. So next up now, we can go ahead and cut out our sheet metal to start covering this gap in here. I don't think we'll get to paint the engine bay in this video. I was really hoping to, but at the same time, you don't want to rush this stuff, right? We want to get this right. We want to make it rad. And as we're going with this build, the more that we do, the more that I want to make it look like super nice. Hence us going all the way to the point where we're taking absolutely everything out of the engine bay. So big job, guys, but it will be well worth it in the end for sure.
It's important to throw etch primer on any bare metal surfaces before painting them. At least that's what Google tells me anyways. Next up, we're making the template to cover up the holes between the old rails and the new rails. I'm really pumped about these as I think it's going to tie the engine bay together nicely. Once we've templated that, we cut it out of our sheet of steel, weld it in, and voila!
The sun is setting outside on another beautiful day, and I am done. I'm so tired, but the results are amazing. I'm very proud of us because we've come such a long way with this thing. But check this out. So the engine bay is coming along super nice. All plated off down the side here. Looks rad. I've got both of our strut tops done now. This one's done a bit tidier than the other one because, of course, as you know, when you do things, you learn. And this is the second one I did. And it just looks a little bit nicer, but this one I've edge primered them for now, but I'll flappy this back a bit just to get these little like dots of weld off before we paint the engine bay officially. I've still got to plate off this side, but like, look at it. We've come such a long way. It's looking so freaking good, and it's gonna look even better when we put this thing all reconditioned into this engine bay. But you can see like, it's gonna be a very cool looking bay once it's all painted and done. Now that all the mounts are removed, like you can see, plating it off, just all is gonna come together super, super nicely. How good, man. The car's sitting on the ground on its own weight, on its coilovers, so this is easily some of the best work we've ever done on the channel, and I personally am super proud of it. Like, I'm learning so much as I go. This car, I'm putting everything I have into this car. So do me a favor, if you aren't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. 66.1% of you currently are not subscribed to the channel, but you watch the videos. So if you're enjoying, feel free to hit subscribe. If you know someone that would like these videos, feel free to share it with them, because this thing, I promise you, is gonna be an absolute animal when it's finished. We're leaving no stone unturned with this thing. It's gonna be crazy when it's finished. But that is the end of this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. It's just so happy with it. It's looking so freaking good. We've also got 3-piece wheels on our BMW E36 now, and they look super gangster. So all in all, a fantastic video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for supporting. The Fwd merch will be out very soon. I get the samples tomorrow, so as long as I'm happy with them, we'll put the pre-sale up, and you guys can go ahead and grab yourself some gangster gear. It looks so freaking cool. Also, the second pre-sale for the Super Coupe hoodie is now live. These hoodies look so good. Grab yourself one, support the channel, stay warm through the winter days. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers, guys. Peace. Bye. Yep, people. Let's go.